Good morning, everybody. This is OSensei Joe from American Jiu-Jitsu Centers. Again with my Ukis and friends and partners, Sean, Kathy, and Billy. Thank you so much for helping and assisting with all of this videoing. We're in a new phase. We went all the way to 4th degree black belt. We completed 4th degree black belt. And instead of going beyond that, I wanted to go into more specific. The training that I've been giving on most of the videos is more of an overview for a lot of the American Jiu-Jitsu students. Now what I'm doing is going back a little bit on some of these techniques and doing a little bit more technical, you might call, training, so you understand why and how we do the techniques versus just seeing it. One is more a technique or videos meant for the students that are within the system, and this gives some people that are outside of the system a little bit of knowledge on why and how we do it a little bit more specifically. American Jiu-Jitsu LI is our tag. American Jiu-Jitsu LI on YouTube, Facebook, and our Gmail account. AJJ Centers is our website for all our Zoom and virtual training and getting out codes. And we're looking to keep you with the contents and keep you working because, you know, I always say that even though the life has changed in the last 3 months, you got to keep yourself busy or you're going to have nothing to come back to. All right, so there's no excuse why not to train. We have virtual training. We have a full library of tapes. You know, today with the climate changing and people marching down streets, you need to know how to defend yourself. If self-defense hasn't been important, it is now, okay? There's a new normal that's occurring, and hopefully we pray that everybody stays peaceful. But listen, when you have people in your backyard and they're doing things that are not appropriate, you gotta be able to defend yourself and your family, and that's what we're all about. We are not a grappling art, we are not a competitive art, we're a self-defense art. These techniques that I'm showing on these videos right now is trying to make you understand the submission part of the art. We have a very much more combative style as well if the technique or the submission is not the technique to use. But like I said on a couple other videotapes, you're videotaped over 200 times a day. You're responsible for your action. If you don't know how to submit a person, you need to learn how to submit a person. And at the same time, if you need to go more extreme, we teach that as well. We've been blessed and honored to teach at the Special Forces at the Army, in the Pentagon, West Point, and every law enforcement agent, so we know what we're doing, all right? You might not know what you're watching, but we know what we're doing, and we'll be more than glad to invite you down to the dojo for a free class to make you touch the hot stove to feel and see what it is that we're doing. But for now, because we can't do that, we're providing you with video and information to make you expand your horizon and your knowledge. We're not ever comparing ourselves to any other martial arts. We believe if a martial arts is teaching good philosophy, whether it be competitive or combative, we don't care, just as long as the philosophy is good and the student is good. Remember, respect is what it's all about. You don't understand something, learn about it. Don't disrespect it, because any martial arts will tell you the same thing. Once you cross that line in the sand with disrespect, it's on. And then we'll see how good or what it is that we're all about. All right, so please watch these as an educational thing and learn and expand, keep your mind open, and learn how to be able to submit or control a person without doing severe damage. So the technique we're gonna work on today is introduce that red belt, and it's an armbar. Armbar is a wonderful technique because you can submit, snap, or you could just control a person, very simple, or you could snap the person's arm and go into something much more severe. Like I said, it depends on what happens after contact is made. You know, you might have one thought frame in your mind when putting a person in submission, but then everything might change as soon as you get into it, and you might have to go from submission to combative, all right, which is fine. We don't teach this until about 2 years after training. Doesn't mean you haven't seen it before then, but it's not a requirement for 2 years because we want you to have all those combative basic skills in place before we tell you to touch somebody, submit somebody, and control somebody. That's a wonderful theory, but you have to have a full magazine when you pull that gun out. Okay? Pulling the gun out is like submission. It just stops the situation. Pulling the trigger, now we're combative. And that's exactly what we're all about. So we're not always wanting to pull that trigger. Sometimes we just want to pull it out and say, yo, chill, relax, calm down. And if that's all we need to do, that's fine. And remember, like I said earlier, we're all videotaped, so we're going to be responsible for our actions, not only morally, but also you're going to be viewed on every news station in the world if you do the wrong thing. And also if you do the right thing. All right, so let's look at these arm bars. Basically, in teaching the arm bars, we have a couple of different concepts. One is called the hiji-dori, which means that when he does, don't even do the technique, just show the hiji-dori, okay, over the top, where he comes over the top and just puts like a figure 4 angle on the person's arm. Remember, an arm bar always needs 2 directions and it needs a base. So the left hand becomes the base and the right hand presses down up with that hand and down with that hand, and that creates pain. So you got to have counter pressure to make an armbar work. The second technique that we show in our system is called the hijikimai. This could be if a person is much taller than you and you're able to get underneath that person's arm. Again, we're using the left arm as the base, the right arm presses down and up, and we have a two-directional movement, and it does severe pain. The next technique is what we call a wakigatami, when we actually use our armpit as the technique to create the bar. So from here, in this situation, he comes over the top, brings the left armpit over, the armpit goes over the elbow, and the other hand pushes up. So the body goes down, and the arm goes up. That gives it its two directions. The next technique, or the next two techniques, is cause of proximity. Is there an attacker over there, or is there an attacker over there? So on this technique, we call it a half-turn urigatami. He goes underneath. He sees there is an attacker in front of him, so he goes back that way, and he brings her down to a belly. And at the same time, if he was to go underneath and see there is an attacker there, he's going to do what we call a full turn. Okay? So let's look at that. So from here, as she pulls, he sees that other attacker is there, so now he goes full turn, puts that arm against the arm. So what you're doing here on an urigatami is you're putting your forearm on the person's elbow and pressing up. So on the hijidori, you're pressing down and up to get the pain. On the hijikimai, you're coming underneath, and then this hand is pressing up, two directions. With the wakigatami, you're coming over with the arm part. This is going down, the body's going up. There's your two directions. With the half turn, you're coming half turn, you're taking your forearm and putting it here. This presses down, this presses up, and that creates a counter pain, and that's with both of the last two techniques. So let's look at those 5 techniques, the way they look in the way of the belt system and the way we introduce it. So the first one is the hijidori. So in this case, just to give you a little more specific, let's go back to that one more time. The person could be pushing forward. He just goes with it. He feels like it's missed. Notice he hits that hand to cancel out that free hand. Notice he moves away from the free hand, and there's your hijidori counter pressure. Now the next one, the person might be much taller, and she's pushing again. Underneath, locks it, and down and up. Okay? Remember something. You're seeing this from a cross-wrist grab. If you go back on the video files, at red belt and red black and blue belt, you'll see these from punches, from straight wrist grabs. We're not going through that on these tapes. We're just trying to be a little bit more specific about the specific technique, armbar. All right, and then there's many different types of armbar. In this case, it's hijidori, hijikime, wakigatami, urigatami, and urigatami. You don't need to remember any of that. But those are the certain names for these techniques. All right, now the person's pulling Shihan. He goes with the pull, almost like he could put that knee down on right now as he goes with the pull, but he goes over the top with the elbow, presses down with the elbow, or his armpit rather, and up with the arm, and there's the counter pressure, making it what we call a wakigatami, which just is a fancy name for an armpit over the elbow. And then we got the 2 half turns again one more time. So from here, he sees his way clear, okay, and brings it down. Uri comes here and there. Same thing with a full turn. Also, it couldn't be a second attacker. He might be going underneath, and all of a sudden there's a wall there, or obstruction, or a ground problem, and he does that full turn, comes all the way around, and brings her down with that arm on the arm, and that makes it your urigatami. So these are submission using an armbar technique, and they give you all different directions to go. Again, they're visible on some of our libraries, from punches, from self-defense techniques. This is just more of a specific, the real concept here that we're trying to explain to you is how the arm bars are done, and then you would use the same knowledge that I'm giving you now on the punches and everything else. That remains the same, all right? So this video is on arm bars. Specifically, we use it from a cross-wrist grab just to use as a reference, but the arm bars that you're working today is hijidori. That's the figure 4, hijikimai underneath, wakigatami when you come over the top with the armpit, and the half turn and full turn underneath and full turn into what we call the urigatami. American Jiu-Jitsu LI. Remember, that's our tag for Facebook, for YouTube, for our Gmail, and also AJJ Centers for all our virtual training. Again, I want to thank Kathy and Billy for coming down and helping today with our taping. I hope you guys are all staying home healthy and safe. I hope this is furthering your education in the way of training, and I hope it's keeping you occupied and busy. Only can watch so much Netflix. Always remember, you got to expand the brain. You don't expand the brain by wishing and hoping. You expand the brain by making a plan, sticking to it, and working every day. Thank you for viewing. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy the beautiful weather.